In this episode we're going to take a look at how I finished off the nose. This is the next bit I'm planning to do, so just to give you a perspective where it is. It's very hard to get in here and clean because my grinding wheels don't reach down far enough, any of them, so I can't get in here with a grinding wheel to clean off all the paint and stuff. What I've done is I've done this bit so far with the needle scaler, so that's got it as clear as this. I've got holes as far as out here. I've got tiny pinholes back here, but it's this bit in here, the core bit, which is really rusted. Okay. When I look underneath, there's a bar. I'm not sure if I'd call it a bar, but there's a piece of metal that runs all the way along and connects the two pillars here. So I don't want to cut through that. And then there were 3 holes in here, and those holes are in the strip of metal underneath as well. So I think my approach is going to be the pinholes I've got here. I think I'll just put some brass behind and weld in those holes and try to clean it off a bit. I don't know how I'll do this one because there's another piece of metal in between, so I can't get brass behind that. So I think I might just try to do a couple of dabs on that to sort that out. And then this one over here is slightly bigger, so I'm not sure again. I'll come back to that. With this, what I think I'm going to do, it's a complicated piece again. So we've got this is curved like this, and it's going to need to be curved this way in some way as well. So I think we're going to do a piece for here, okay, and weld onto it a piece for in here. Yeah, I think that's how we'll do it. I don't know how I'm going to cut out the piece at this stage, because as I said, I haven't got any grinding wheels and I don't have any cutting discs or anything that is going to allow me to get in there, so that's going to be interesting. But I think I could certainly come from underneath and cut out a bit of it for the bottom bit, and that might give me some room or something to do it. I don't know how I'm going to do that. So what I might do is I might think about this a bit and come back to it, and I might tackle this bit over here first, which should be fairly similar to that corner there. Yeah, not sure which. So my plan for this middle section here is I'm going to start by I'm going to do separate pieces. One to go along here, one to come across the bottom. In order to get the curve in on this, because it's quite a big curve in fact, I'm going to use Clecos and fit this to the panel that's already there. I will then bring in a piece to come along the bottom and possibly use Clecos again in order to get that to fit, I don't know. But I can then weld the two together. Once I've got the two welded together, I can fill in the holes, and it's then just a case of cutting out the simple bit, cutting it out and fitting the new panel or new piece. Okay, so we're going to start by fitting that in place with Clecos. Now I've got my second piece, which was I just cut a straight piece and then I just started trimming it and then pushing this up as far as it would go and marking a line to right, and then grinding down wherever the line was, bringing it back, grinding down, drawing a line. So initially there was a big gap in the middle here, but slowly that gap disappeared as I ground down and got sort of a curved shape. So this bit is going in here. I just want to grind off this bottom bit a bit because of the flange, the sharp bit of metal there, and then I'm going to tack weld it here, and then I'm going to use some clecos to make sure it's really firmly fixed to the bottom, and then I'm going to weld it in place a bit more firmly, and that should, I hope, give me a good piece to then replace what's in there. So that's the plan. So I tacked this piece in, I then took it all off, welded it across the front and across the back, and ground it down so that it fits in. So that I think is all pretty good. But what I am getting, because this is complex shape here, and this bit actually goes up on that lip just a little bit, and so I've got air here and here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a relief cut, I think like that, and same on this side. Just a small relief cut on both sides, and I think what that will do is that will is that the right place to do it? Yeah, I think in that case, both cases it will be okay. And what that should allow me to do is flatten this piece out on both sides, and then bend the other bit around it a little, and I can then weld it back into place. So that's what I'm going to do next. I've done that and it's made a little bit of an improvement, but I also realised this isn't quite sitting as flush as it was before, because I've got some weld and I haven't ground it completely smooth on the other side. It's going to be hidden under there somewhere, and so I'm not worried about that. I'd rather it was firm, so it's sitting out a bit more. So the more important thing is, when I fit it in, I need to make sure that these bits go right in on the angle, and I can then adjust this if necessary. So this does allow me to, I think this will help fit it properly, but I've got to remember it's going to all go down about 1 millimetre and that way about 1 millimetre, and so I don't want to make it fit perfectly sitting on top here, because that's not going to be right. So I've now got to work out how I'm going to cut it out, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this so that it's painted. I can then leave that to dry whilst I'm thinking about it, and I'll come back after I've done some thinking. There were bits in this process which are very time consuming, and I've been struggling to cut out the metal underneath here within the V. So cutting this bit out, which I've now got clear but I still need to clean up, has taken me about 2 hours. And I don't know if that's just my approach is daft or my tools or what, but I've got that. I trimmed this down to fit in here, so that I can get my corners all lined up. So that now I can do, and I need to now clean this out. Now I'm not too worried about cutting this line along the top if I do it as a cut and butt, because I can get my large grinder to come along and cut this along this edge, so that's not a problem. However, I've got to get in here on this edge to cut accurately, and I can't get my grinder in there. So that's a bit more of an issue for me. So I don't know how I'm going to do that, although I've got an idea, which I will say in a second. And then the last bit is the verticals. I've definitely got nothing, I don't have an idea for this at the moment, but I'm going to have to cut this vertical bit at some point. So the way I managed to cut some of it was actually to come at the bottom, and so this bar under the bottom I've actually had to cut in order to get at some bits. I don't really want to be cutting a lot more of it. So what I'm going so my idea for this bit along here, which I can't quite reach, is if I weld the edges in and weld it sort of a little bit along here to get it firm. I could even do spot welds, just some tacks along here. I can then cut it from underneath, and if I cut through a bit of this and a bit of that, then they should line up perfectly. So that's the approach I will take with this bottom bit, because I have enough metal to do that, I think. Some of that would then be a bit rusty still, but I think that might be the best I'm going to do, but it also might mean I blow a couple hours. Anyway, we'll see. I think that's what I'll do there. For the top, I've already said I think that's not going to be too bad, so that just leaves me trying to work out how I'm going to do the side. And I do have a where is it now? I do have a small. I used to have the Black and Decker equivalent of a Dremel, but it gave up on me. I do have one of these, to which I could fit the Dremel bit, but I've so far gone through three. I've tried that, and I've gone through 3 cutting discs using this, trying to cut out bits here, and barely made a dent. So I'm not sure that that's really a viable option. 3 little cutting discs. I did buy a modern equivalent of what I had as a rotary tool. Stop using the name brand. So I did buy this rotary tool, but it didn't seem to make a dent. Now maybe it's because I was using the wrong cutting disc, and I might have to give this another go. Because I think this does have some of its own cutting discs, which will look a bit thicker. So I'll have to have another go with this, I think, and see if I can. I think that's how I'll end up trying to do these edges. But the first thing I'm going to have to do is clean it up. Normally I'd use my grinder, but I can't get my grinder in here. So I could try doing it with this, which is what I'll do first, and if that doesn't work I'll have to go at it by hand. I've also got to clean up all of this metal in here, which is very rusty. So we're going to work on that next. I went through 4 or 5 more mini cutting discs, but that allowed me to get those edges done. So we're going to tack in across the top. I haven't tried to deal with the bottom bit yet. So we've got the sides done, and we've got it tacked across the top there, as it looks in the camera. And yeah, I haven't looked at really doing the bottom bit yet. I did put in these holes for plug welds to weld to the bar below, but they're actually too high up, so I won't be doing that. I'll have to fill those in somehow now. Yeah, well. And when I was trying to cut out from underneath, I cut out far too far along. Here it is there. Came all the way over here because I'd seen some holes here, so I assumed I'd made it all the way out. I'd forgotten I was going to just plug weld those. Put a bit of weld in there. Anyway, So we'll have to fill that up, but this is hot at the moment because of that welding, but we're just working along slowly and we'll get that done. Okay, we've got it welded in place now, but it does need a bit of a grind, and that is another day because it's getting quite dark and I'm hungry. So we shall grind tomorrow and try to fill those holes that I created for the plug welding, and we'll aim to plug weld from the other end, from underneath. Okay, so I've ground that down. It's not completely flat, but it's okay. I've welded it underneath and filled everything up. I've spot welded it together, so that's okay. I thought I'd just then start having a look at this front and just have a little pick. And this great big chunk of fell out, and then right next to it this great big chunk fell out. So if we take a look, I haven't tried cleaning this yet, but this is what I'm looking next. Oh, I've got the light in the way behind a bit, but basically I think this looks like it's metal. Then it's basically rust, at least until here. I've got another hole up here, so I suspect all of this is going to need some work. So we're going to clean that off, and then we're going to do this bit, which will be easy. Clean that off, and so we've got rust from here to here, and then a little bit over here. In here it's not rusty, it's just dented, so there's clearly been an accident or something at some point. It was filled in. Now I couldn't get behind that to pull it out. I don't have a puller or anything, and I wouldn't be able to do any better than that anyway, so that will get filler on it again. This is going to have to be replaced around here, which I need to look at a bit about how to do, and how much of it goes underneath and stuff like that, but we'll take a look at that. So that's next. Now what I'm going to do though, as I said, I'm going to do this easy bit first, or this easier bit. I'm also going to turn the car around because I have better light at the other end, because I have natural daylight and I have more space when I have the garage open. So we're going to turn the car around now and then deal with this little bit here. So we've got that bit in place. This is considered part of the wing, so I haven't done this bit yet. So this is the next bit. I need to clean it off a little bit more, I think, but it clearly comes down underneath and then has a lip down, and then in some places, like here, it actually comes down and gets welded onto this bit that goes all the way across. So I need to clean this all up. This one over here on the fender that I've taken off, I've clearly not quite put in right, and so there's some fixing that needs to go on here. So I've got this tab coming down, but I've got it on the wrong side, and I think there's probably meant to be a tab, oh well, here. So I need to take that off and put it in properly to do this, but I'm going to start by cleaning off and seeing what it all looks like. So we've still got holes here, but this bit over here seems a bit better, so yeah. So we'll start cleaning and then take another look, but I think I might just do that tomorrow. Whilst I have a think about it, because I'm a bit worried about how I get, I've got so kind of this isn't a problem, but we've also got a bend that's like that here for the nose, which probably is fairly flat. Well, you can see where it comes along actually. Yeah. Right, so I've started by making this piece here, which, I mean, I think once I bang it in place will fit a bit better than it appears to just now. And all that is a straight piece which I used an anvil and a hammer to create a couple of angles, so it comes down a bit far, but I'm not worried about that at the moment. And then I did a couple of cuts in here to get it to come around. So I think if I push it in place to weld it, well, take out the metal that's there currently, and then push it in place to weld it, I'm hoping that will do the trick. So it's coming along. We got it welded in across the top, and across here it's smooth, so we can get that, you know, and then a bit of filler along here should see us good. And now going through and doing these bits. So I'm just using my cutter to cut across the top, and then I'm using this little grinding tool to grind out the curve. I've gone a bit high in this one, I think. Maybe not. But I've got to do this one, and then over here I haven't quite got my bend right. I'm going to have to somehow work out how to rebend that bit. But we're going to cut out this first, get that in place, and then we'll see. And we're done there. So it did come in. You can see I've got my kind of holes there more or less. Over here I just drilled a hole and then filled it in with some metal. So I'm going to consider that apron or nose done. Now obviously I haven't done these bits, but they're part of the, for the sake of this, I'm consuming their part of the wing because they're welded onto it, even though they're their own panels that come off it. So I still need to do that on both sides. I'm not sure what I'll do next though, but we're going to stop this episode here. I'm pretty pleased with that progress actually. I think that'll come out fine once we've got some filler over it, and it will now be rust free again, which would be nice.